everyone, Heather here with Astrology with Heather.com, and I am back with another weekly forecast. This one is for Monday, September 23rd, all the way through to Sunday, September 29th of 2019. And so this week, we have a couple of big shifts going on here. The main thing is that the sun will be moving into the sign of Libra. We're already at the fall equinox. And so this is a major shift in the energy. If you are familiar with astrology, especially modern Western astrology and the tropical zodiac, you know that the tropical zodiac is actually based on these transitionary periods with the solstices and the equinoxes. And so this represents the beginning of a whole new season, a whole new energy in terms of our solar cycle. It's the time of the second harvest. It's the time where it's sort of a crisis of completion and wrapping things up and letting go of all of the hard work that we've put in and everything that we've really worked to accomplish over the course of this solar year, which began at the winter solstice. And so right now we're at this point where things are winding down from summer. It's, this balance that we're coming into between light and dark, night and day, the active, sort of expressive principle in astrology and the more receptive feminine principle in astrology. And that's hugely symbolic of the energy of Libra as we enter into this Libra season, this equinox time period. Because Libra is all about balance. It's about taking care of your needs, but also taking into account the needs of other people. So finding balance and equilibrium between yourself as an individual and yourself in relationship. It's about finding a balance between that receptive, more feminine energy in astrological terms and that masculine active energy. It's about finding tranquility, finding balance, finding harmony. And so we're just coming out in the northern hemisphere of a very active, expressive season, that whole summertime where everybody's out and about, where it's much hotter, people are out doing activities, the days are longer, and we're moving into this time period where day and night are equal. And so, the symbolism of the seasons is very much encoded in the astrology of this time period as well. So that happens on Monday. We have the shift of the equinox. Also, one of the things I always read about, but I've never actually tried, is that people say if you put an egg and you sit it upright on the equinox at like the exact time of the equinox or within an hour of the exact time, which it happens actually at 1:50 a.m. my time zone, so I'm not going to be trying this time either, but it'll stand upright. If any of you have ever done that, please comment below because I'm curious. I always hear about that experiment, but I never remember to do it. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's just an interesting little side note there. So if you've tried that, let me know. If you live maybe in Europe where it's going to be daytime at the equinox, try it this time. But anyway, so we have a major shift, right? We're shifting right now from one season to the next. We're shifting into a period where it's going to be more internalized. That's also the other thing with this Libra season. It's about balancing your external reality with your internal reality. And so it's less of an externalized time period, and we're moving into a more internalized time period, preparing for the winter solstice and the cosmic reset that comes along with that time frame. So we're moving into that time period. It's a very powerful moment in time where day and night are equal, where there's a specific alignment with the sun and the earth that maybe makes an egg stand up. I don't know. Let me know if that's a thing. But anyway, so that's how we're kicking off the week with this big shift. And these seasonal markers, when we move into a new sign and it's a cardinal sign, they tend to be bigger shifts in energy when it comes to the solar cycles than other shifts. And so you'll probably feel it a little bit more, especially if you're a Libra or if you have a lot of cardinal energy in your chart in Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn. And it's a good energy. It highlights the structure of your chart if that's the case for you. And we'll talk about that a little bit when we get into the forecast for all 12 signs. And I actually just finished writing up my Libra season newsletter. I mention this from time to time, but I do a written forecast for each zodiac season for the month ahead, beginning with the sun shifting into a new sign, and that's completely free. If you sign up for my newsletter down in the description below, you'll get it automatically. It'll be out on Monday at the time of the equinox, and so you can get a little bit of an overview of the general energy for the month ahead. And if you subscribe to my newsletter, I now offer a coupon code for 10% off any webinar or course through my website. And so you can use that for a course that already exists, like my Relocation Astrology course, or my Mastering the Outer Planets series, which is an ongoing series where we're going to cover Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and a bonus webinar on Jupiter that's only available for people who sign up for the full series. And so you can use that 10% off coupon for that, or you can save it because I haven't put an expiration date on it. So that way, if a new course comes up in the future, you have that in your back pocket there. So yeah, sign up for the newsletter, free resource. But it's not time for announcements yet. We have more stuff going on this week. I got a little sidetracked there. But I've been working really hard on that Libra newsletter. I just got that finished before recording this. And I've also been working on the Scorpio solar return forecast. And Scorpios are going to have a really nice year for the most part for a lot of Scorpio sun signs. And so if you want to purchase your Scorpio sun sign solar return forecast for the year ahead. If you are a Scorpio sun sign, it's a 2-hour video, and you can get 25% off if you pre-order it now. The price will go up on October 1st when the video is released. So I guess my announcements have already happened. I'm going to get back into the forecast. I apologize for that. But so the main event this week, other than the shift of the sun into the sign of Libra, ushering us into this new season, is the new moon, which brings a cosmic reset in the sign of Libra. And that's going to be happening on Saturday, the 28th, so into the weekend. So this is going to be a way more internal, sort of laid back weekend for a lot of people. When there's a new moon, there's not a lot of energy, and especially for women, because women are ruled more by the moon than men. It's a time where your psychic energy increases. It's a time where your internal reality becomes more important. And it's a time where, there's not as much energy behind things, so it's not a good time to just jump in and initiate something. However, it's a great time to contemplate and to think about the intentions that you want to set for the month ahead. And that newsletter will help you with that too, because you'll know what's going on for you. But in general, this is a really great time to come back into balance, because this is the new moon in Libra. It's all about balance, harmony, tranquility. This is a great time to set intentions for anything that has to do with relationships, or coming into balance between being out in the world, active and working, and spending more time in your own space. Focusing on your own needs, or focusing on relationship versus your own needs. So coming back into balance, essentially in any area in life that you want to come back into balance with. This is also an energy that's really strong around justice or injustice, and balancing out those injustices in your personal life, but also on more of a global scale. And that's especially the case for this new moon, because it's in a really, really tight in conjunction with Uranus. And so for those of you who have taken webinars with me, or have gotten readings for me, you know that I really focus on these in conjunctions, because they do have a very obvious impact on psychological behavioral patterns, and they can cause a lot of blockages and difficulties, but they also, when they're expressed really consciously, they bring a lot of really incredible talents and gifts. And when you have this in conjunction by transit, it's kind of a similar vibe. So you have this energy where there's this irritation, there's this need to compromise between wanting to set these new intentions, right, in the sign of Libra with this new moon, wanting to set these new intentions to create balance, harmony, and equilibrium. But there's this internalized sense of rebellion, or this need to change, this frustration that's building. that you might want to express or maybe even overexpress. And so you might find people changing things really, really abruptly or maybe too soon with this new moon. You might find people rebelling against injustices in ways that might be a little too over the top, or people might be internalizing these rebellious urges, and it might cause a lot of frustration that later on will reach a boiling point if it's not being expressed. But this is actually a great time to work with this energy. So if there's anything in terms of unconscious or subconscious or buried, this buried need to rebel against your current circumstances, to fight against some sort of imbalance or injustice in your life, to change something that's going to create better balance and harmony later on down the line, even if it does cause a bit of disruption in the meantime, now is a great time to do that. It's a great time to set those intentions to do that. And you know, that energy with that Uranus in conjunction will support that. But if you don't do something with it, it might be a little bit of a friction or an irritating energy for some people, especially if you have a lot of that Libra energy or Aries energy in your chart with your sun, moon, or rising sign. And so we'll get into that when we get into the forecast for all 12 signs in just a second here. And so that's kind of the main energy. I mean, there's some other stuff going on midweek where we're going to have Venus in square with Saturn, Mercury in square with Pluto. So there's some activation of that Pluto-Saturn conjunction, but it's going to be pretty fleeting. But Wednesday and Thursday, there could be some challenge that comes up, some irritation or friction around relationships or communication that involves what you've already been working on, breaking down and rebuilding in your life in the Capricorn area of your chart. But, you know, again, fleeting aspects, it will bring potentially some challenges, but there's also going to be a Mercury sextile to Jupiter at the same time. So even if you are facing a little bit more challenge midweek, if you're having to have really difficult conversations with people, the end results will ultimately be positive, and you and the person on the receiving end of this information will be able to see things from a broader perspective and to have a more optimistic outlook on whatever it is you're tackling. So if you do have to have those really intense conversations, if you do really need to, you know, work through some sort of issue in an important relationship or partnership this week, it is a decent time to do that. It's not going to be without challenge, but there is a supportive energy that will allow you to face those challenges with an optimistic mindset. So that's what's going on midweek. So we have equinox, a little bit of friction, new moon, change. And there we go. So now I'm going to get into the forecast for all 12 signs, beginning with Aries. And I do have one more quick announcement, actually. In terms of the solar return sun sign forecast for the year ahead, if you are an Aries or a Taurus, because your solar year is about halfway through, your solar return forecast is about half off. So you can find the link down in the description below to order your forecast if you haven't already done so, and you'll still get a lot of really great energy for the year ahead, and it even goes into a little bit of stuff that might be happening for you in the future too. So the link to purchase that is down in the description below. If you are a Scorpio sun sign, your solar return forecast is available for pre-order for just a few more, well, about like a week and a half, something like that, until the 1st. And so you can get that for 25% off down below. And for everyone in between, Taurus and Scorpio, your solar return sun sign forecast is available now, and it's there, so you can get that too. So that's my announcement. So now I'm going to get into the forecast for all 12 signs. All right, so for Aries and for Aries rising, so we're going to be focusing for this forecast, we're going to be focusing really heavily on the new moon, because that is the most predominant energy, and it's tied to that shift that we talked about at the beginning of this video with the sun moving into the sign of Libra. And so for Aries, you're shifting your focus this week. So you've probably been focusing a lot on work, on health, on habits, on daily routines. When the sun is in the 6th house, you're very busy. And so you're moving out of this time of busyness, of doing a lot of work, of having to focus a lot of your energy on your work or on your health or on practical sort of matters, or just maybe feeling busy in your day-to-day life, because that's what it can really bring. You're shifting from that energy to focusing more on relationships, collaborations, partnerships, connections with other people. And so this weekend brings an important time where you can make some sort of reset in that area or set intentions in that area. So if you want to revitalize the energy in your current partnership, if you want a new partnership, if you want to create better situations for yourself with your friends, or change the dynamic of important relationships with that Uranus in conjunction, if you're feeling friction around relationships, this is a point of release where you can figure out how you're going to change things and rebel against your current circumstances so they're more harmonious and you have a better state of equilibrium in your relationships. This could also have to do with negotiations and contracts. And so if you are on the sort of short end of a bad deal, this is a time where you can really rebel against it and change something to create a more harmonious end result of the negotiation that benefits all concerned. And so that's the energy for Aries and Aries rising. If you are frustrated with your current circumstances in a romantic partnership, this is also the time where you might feel like you're really frustrated, and you'll either bottle that up or you'll express it a little too soon or really overtly, to the point where it can be disruptive to the relationship in a negative way. So you want to make sure that you're using this energy intentionally and that you know what you want and you know how to approach it before you jump in and do so. All right, and so for Taurus and for Taurus rising. So for you guys, this new moon is happening in your 6th house. And so you've just had this energy that's actually quite nice of the sun in Virgo in your 5th house, which is more about passion and play and focusing on the things that you love to do because you love to do them. There's been some friction along the way with certain transits, but for the most part, it's a time to have fun. And you're shifting from that time into a new period for the next month where it's time to get back to work. And so you're going to be very busy, most likely for especially Taurus rising signs over the next few weeks here with the sun transiting your 6th house. This is a time where you have to focus on your day-to-day work routines, your day-to-day health habits, and just your day-to-day life in general and your day-to-day routines. They become busier, they become more of a focal point. And this is also a time where, especially this weekend, you might want to set intentions to change something. You might find that you're feeling frustrated with your current circumstances in your day-to-day work life or in your day-to-day routines, and maybe it's becoming too mundane and too routine. Or maybe you're out of balance when it comes to your day-to-day life and you're working too hard or you're playing too hard, and so you need to change something, and the frustration builds, and so you can either bottle that up and stay frustrated for a little while longer, explode it out of you and change something really aggressively that causes a lot of disruption but eventually will lead to equilibrium. Or you can make a plan and you can utilize this energy more intentionally, which is what I recommend doing, unless it's completely beyond the ability at this point to continue with the status quo. And so this is a time where you might not even realize that you felt this way, and it comes up for you this weekend, and so you have to figure out how to change it. And so that's a lot of the energy for Taurus, Taurus rising. And if your health has been suffering or you've been out of balance physically, this is also an energy that might cause you to really want to change something and jump right in and do something new. Or you feel like you're frustrated with your current circumstances, but you don't know where to start, or you're afraid to jump in. Now's the time to work with that energy and figure out a plan so you can make that change, so you can free up some energy and come back into balance health-wise. All right, for Gemini and for Gemini rising. This energy with the sun shifting into Libra is happening in your 5th house. And so you're just coming out of Virgo season with the sun transiting your 4th house, which is the house of the home, family, property, right? It has to do with your place of living. And so you've been working on making sure that your house is in order, making sure that your family situation is settled, making sure that your living space is exactly the way that you want it to be, focusing on matters involving the family. And now you're shifting into focusing on playing a little bit, having fun with this energy in the 5th house. This is a really great time to set intentions involving children or involving connecting with new hobbies, interests, things that you love to do, reconnecting with your passions. This is a great time to set intentions for romance or for just getting out there and spending more time out in the world, out at concerts and restaurants and doing things that are associated with that fifth house energy. This is also a great time for setting intentions involving children. There could be some frustration with your current circumstances in romance or in your relationship with your children, or even in your ability to just go out and have fun, where you want to do something new, a little something different outside of the box. And maybe this is going to bring that energy up from your subconscious, and it's going to cause you to want to change something. Just make sure that you're working with the energy consciously. You're not repressing it, and you're not exploding it out of you and causing a mess that creates too much of an imbalance in the current situation. All right, and then for Gemini and for Gemini rising, or sorry, for Cancer and for Cancer rising. So for Cancer rising, you're coming out of a very busy Virgo season because you've had the sun transiting your third house and a bunch of other planets too. So you've had a lot of energy around communication, probably a lot of text messages, phone calls, emails, maybe some short distance travel, or some issues involving your commute or something along those lines, or connecting with your community. And now you're shifting into an energy with the sun in your fourth house of the home, family, property. And that's a very Cancerian energy for you. So now you get to focus on your roots. This is a great time to set intentions for any projects in your home, any projects involving property, or maybe making changes to your property. This is a great time to focus on connecting or reconnecting with your family, or establishing new family dynamics that are more supportive and more balanced for you. And this is one of the best times for you to beautify your home or set intentions for making changes that create more harmony and tranquility when it comes to the aesthetic of your home. The energy with this in conjunction, though, there could be some sort of friction or this sort of internalized rebellion that you might start feeling a little frustrated with your current circumstances in your home, or even current circumstances with friendships could come up too, where you need to change something. And so just make sure that you're working with this energy consciously. You're not repressing it and staying frustrated, but you're also not, just changing something rather abruptly that might lead to chaos or a little bit of a headache for you. You want to make sure that you're doing it in a way where you're considering the needs of others as well as your own needs, and maintaining that sense of equilibrium through the changes that you're making. All right, and then for Leo and for Leo rising. So this energy with the new moon is happening in your third house, which is the house of communication. You're just shifting out of an energy where you've had a lot of focus on money, finances, the way that you create resources, the way that you budget your money, or the way that you utilize your resources when it comes to important purchases. So now you're focusing a little bit less on money and a little bit more on communication, on maybe reconnecting with your community, doing something of value within your neighborhood, or changing something about your immediate environment within your community as well. This is a great time to set intentions for anything involving marketing, communication, anything involving siblings, extended family members, or short distance trips. And so this could be a really great time where maybe you feel like you need to change something about your immediate environment by breaking away and doing something new and taking like a day trip or something. Maybe you're frustrated with seeing the same thing day in and day out, or making the same commute, and so you need to change something. Just make sure that you're changing something in a way that is going to create better harmony and tranquility for you in that area, as opposed to just saying or doing something, because this could also be like there's something you feel like you need to say, and you need to like rebel against someone or something in your life, and you bottle it up and stay frustrated, or you just spill it out and it creates a disruption that's a little bit more than what you bargained for. So just make sure. And also, this is a great time to set intentions for anything having to do with education, especially learning practical skills. And so if you want to change something through education, this is a great time to do that. So maybe you want to change your circumstances when it comes to your work, or something in your day-to-day life, and you need some additional skills to do so. All right, and for Virgo and for Virgo rising. So this energy here with the new moon is happening in your second house of finance. And so this past month it's been Virgo season, so it's been your season. It's been your solar reset if you're a Virgo sun sign, and if you missed your solar return forecast, it's still completely relevant, and it's still going to help you to navigate the year ahead. And so that is actually available down in the description below. It's a 2-hour video that talks all about your solar return energy for the year ahead and how you can navigate that energy and utilize the good energy. There's a lot of good energy for Virgo this year, and overcome some of the challenges that you might face. And so that's down in the description below. But for everyone else, so this Virgo season has been about you. You've been in the spotlight. It's about your cosmic reset and you figuring out what you want, your own needs, your own self-interest. Maybe you've been in the spotlight a little bit more. Maybe you had a makeover, or you did something involving your body or your appearance during this time. But in either case, the energy is shifting. So the focus is now on your resources. So, during Virgo season, it's kind of reevaluating who you are and what it is you're putting out there in the world. And in Libra season, it's more about what you do with that energy in order to create a foundation for yourself on a material level. And so this is a great time to set intentions for anything that has to do with money, finances, budgeting, maybe saving for a major purchase or paying down debts. You might find that you have some frustration bubbling up regarding your current circumstances financially that you didn't even realize you were harboring. And so you might feel, especially this weekend, like you really need to change something, or maybe you just press it down and you stay frustrated. But in either case, you really want to work with this energy consciously to create some sort of change that's going to benefit you financially moving forward. It could even be that the frustration has to do with you making money in a way that's not in alignment with your beliefs, with your moral and ethical value systems, with Uranus in the 9th house. And so, you're going to have to work and make some sort of compromise in order to create a better situation for yourself, where you're making the resources that you need, or you're utilizing them in the way that you need to, but you're not compromising your integrity in the process. All right, and then for Libra and for Libra rising. So for you guys, this energy with the new moon is happening in your sign. So it's your cosmic reset. So you've been going through this sort of more internalized period where you've been feeling more like you want to hide out, focus on your inner world, your subjective reality, rest, relax. And now you're coming into your cosmic reset for Libra sun signs in particular for your solar return. And so if you are a Libra sun sign, your solar return forecast is available now. The link is down in the description below. It is a 2-hour forecast that gives you everything you need to know about the energy for the year ahead for Libra sun signs in particular. And especially if you're born this week, you're going to have a major reset coming because you have a new moon happening. So anyone born toward the middle and end of this week and even the beginning of next week is going to have some of that energy, but especially this weekend. Anytime you have a new moon in your solar return chart, it's a life-changing year. It's a year of major endings and major new beginnings. And I've gone back through even and looked at my solar returns, and every time there's a new moon in my solar return, it's like a year that a whole bunch of new stuff happens, and my life, it's not like everything completely manifests, but it's like all these new beginnings start at that time, and then they grow and grow and grow as the years go on. So it's an important time. So you're going through your cosmic reset, and even if you're not a Libra sun sign, if you are a Libra rising sign, the spotlight's still on you. So you're shifting from a time period of going inward, of hiding out, into a time period where you're going to be back out into the open. You might be in the spotlight. You might be recognized a little bit more by your peers, or in relationship, or in your work experience. You might have just a lot more energy. You're going to feel like putting yourself back out there, and this is a really great time to focus on your needs and your own self-interests, which is kind of not as much of a Libra thing, because Libras tend to focus a lot on the needs of others before they take into consideration their own needs. They learn to be very considerate of other people's needs first. And so this is a time where the spotlight's on you. So whatever you want to create based on your own self-interest, your own volition, what you feel is right for you, now is a time to do it. Now is a time to set those intentions. For Libra sun signs and Libra rising signs, and especially if you have your rising or sun sign near that sixth degree in the sign of Libra. So anywhere from 3 to 9 degrees, you'll be feeling this the most. You're going to have a big reset. And so this is the time to see those intentions. It's kind of a major new moon energy for you. And you also might find that you feel really frustrated with certain circumstances in your life, maybe certain relationships or certain ways that you've been behaving or projecting your energy out into the world. And so you might find that you're frustrated with yourself this new moon. And so this is a really great time to figure out what to do with that, right? So you might feel compelled to just bottle that up and keep going and maintain that equilibrium. You might feel compelled to really just change something really abruptly and cause a lot of chaos in your life. The best way to do this is to make a little bit of a compromise, right? Don't change everything all at once. Don't create a big upheaval, but also don't repress it. Find a middle ground. Change what you need to change, but some of it you might need to wait on or hold off on, or mull it over a little bit longer. And so that's the energy for Libra and Libra rising. And for Scorpio, you guys are going to have a great solar return for a lot of you, because I was just working on that too. So if you're a Scorpio rising, I mentioned this already, I think like twice, but you can pre-order your solar return forecast down in the description below to get 25% off, and it'll be available for immediate download on October 1st. But so you guys are going to have this new moon in your 12th house because you're preparing for your cosmic reset. You're preparing for your solar return. If you are a Scorpio sun sign, even if you're a Scorpio rising sign, Libra season is a more internalized energy. It's where you're focusing on your inner world. It's where you're pulling back from being in the limelight or being out and about. You've just come from a season that was very social with the sun in Virgo, where you've been spending more time focusing on the needs of the group, focusing on your social interactions, your friendships, putting things out there for the public, giving back, maybe even doing things involving technology or connecting with groups of people via the internet. And now you're focusing more on winding down, focusing on your dreams, focusing on your spiritual practices, focusing on your creative potential. And this is a great time for setting intentions in that area. So setting intentions for creative types of pursuits, setting intentions for creating better balance in your life through pulling back, resting, spending time focusing on, spiritual endeavors, practices, pursuits, that type of thing. And so, this is a great time also to maybe go on some sort of spiritual retreat or change something. You might be feeling frustrated with your current circumstances. Maybe there's something in your relationships or agreements or contracts that you've entered into that is frustrating you and preventing you from getting that rest or focusing on your spirituality in the way that you need to. And so this is a time where you might feel like you want to change something to give yourself that space, or you might just let it go and stay frustrated. I don't recommend that. So think about ways that you can change things in your relationships in terms of your obligations for other people or the status quo that you've fallen into, in order to create space. So you can set those intentions, so you can spend more time focusing on your inner world. You can spend more time in rest and in solitude as opposed to being out in the world. But just don't change things crazy if you can avoid it. So there's going to be a compromise required there. But yeah, this is a great time. Focus on your dreams too. Your dreams might get really intense. And if they do, it's probably because they're trying to show you something. And so some messages could be coming in for you this week as well. And then Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, this energy with Libra season. So you've just come out of a really busy season when it comes to your work, your career, your public reputation has been a major focal point. And now you're shifting into an energy where you're focusing more on your friends, your social networks, the people that you surround yourself with by choice. This is a great time to set intentions for creating new friendships, joining a new group or organization, giving back in a way that as part of an organization. So like any sort of humanitarian or altruistic pursuit that involves connecting with groups of people, this is a great time to set intentions for any of that. This is a time where you might be feeling frustrated with your current work circumstances or your current social circumstances as a result of maybe working too hard or not having enough freedom or wiggle room in your work schedule or your daily routines. And so this is going to be a great time for you to set intentions to change something, to create space, so that way you can have better balance through connecting with groups of people, through socializing, through your friendships. And so, this isn't a time to bottle up those frustrations. This isn't a time to just jump in and change everything all crazy and create a mess for yourself in your work life or in your day-to-day life or in your health routines or something like that, or to create a mess for yourself with your friendships if you're frustrated with your current friendships, because that could be part of it too. It's a time to figure out how to make these changes without creating a lot of chaos. and shocking all of your friends and, disrupting the relationships you want to keep. But it is a great time to set intentions for group activities. It's a great time to set intentions for changing things up when it comes to your friendships. So maybe making new friendships or changing your role or the dynamics within a group. And I think that's going to bring you a lot of good energy and a lot of rest and reprieve from focusing so much on your work. All right, so for Capricorn and for Capricorn rising. Where are you? There it is. Okay. So for Capricorn and Capricorn rising, this energy is happening in your 10th house of work and career and public reputation. And so you've had a lot of focus this past month on gaining perspective, taking a step back. Maybe you've had some travel experiences. Maybe you've been working on learning something that has higher value, gaining wisdom, going on adventures and gaining wisdom through your experiences. You've been reevaluating your beliefs, especially your moral and ethical, philosophical value systems and the way that they frame your reality. And so now is a time where you're focusing a little bit more on taking that and channeling it into the work that you're doing out in the world and the way you're projecting your image outwardly. This is a time where it's a cosmic reset when it comes to your work and your career. And so any new projects that you want to start with your career or with your work, anything that you want to really set intentions for involving your career. Maybe you want a new job. Maybe you want a new promotion within your current job. Maybe you just want your bosses to recognize the value that you're providing in your workplace. This is a time where you can set intentions for all of that, and you can get that recognition this month, and the spotlight will be more on you when it comes to your work. It's usually a busy time career-wise, especially if you're somebody who's like at the top of a hierarchy, like you're in a management position, or if you're somebody who owns your own business. You might be feeling frustrated with the status quo. You might feel like you're not really engaging in your passions right now and channeling that into your work. And so there could be some sort of friction or frustration there that causes you to want to change something. And so you might just bottle that up and say, I just need to keep going in the same way to keep things stable and to maintain that equilibrium. Or you might want to just change something all crazy this weekend. Definitely sit on that, think about it, figure out a way that you can change things really intentionally when it comes to your career path and create a better situation and more harmony, balance, and equilibrium for yourself through your work moving forward. All right, and then for Aquarius and Aquarius rising. So this energy is happening with the new moon in your 9th house, which is the house of travel, adventure. It's the house of higher educational pursuits. It's the house of your beliefs, your connection with God. And so this is a big shift. So you've been focusing a little bit more inward. You've been dealing with maybe some intensity, maybe some issues around finances as well, power struggles, that type of thing. It's more of an internalized season for you when we go through Virgo. But now that the sun is in Libra, this is a time where you can set intentions for, first off, you're just going to feel much more expansive, optimistic. You're going to want to put yourself out there. Anytime you move from, the 8th, the 4th, the 8th, or the 12th house into, the following house, it's kind of like you were hibernating a little bit or hiding out a little bit, and then you're just back out in the world. And so you're going to feel much more you're going to feel like putting yourself out there. You're going to feel like having adventures. You're going to feel like wanting to do more things. You're also going to feel more optimistic, and you'll have a newfound sense of perspective when it comes to your current situation. This is a great time to set intentions for making some sort of change involving higher educational pursuits or travel plans. If you're feeling frustrated with your day-to-day life and you want to go out and have an adventure, maybe your home life or your family situation is causing like a source of frustration for you and you want to just get away. This is a great time to set intentions for that. Definitely don't bottle it up and repress it if you're feeling that frustration, especially if it's a frustration that's new to you, that's just coming out over this weekend. But don't like crazy just go off and like disappear or something like that either and cause disruption. In that way, it's a time to find a middle ground, to find some sort of compromise, to do something that opens up that sense of adventure without creating a mess or, shocking people and disrupting your relationships. This is also a great time to set intentions for making changes, again, involving education. So a great time to start some sort of new educational pursuit or a course, or to write or publish something, or to teach a course if that is something that you are interested in doing. To connect with a new teacher who is a little bit eccentric or different, who has a new viewpoint that can help you to get a new lease on life or a new perspective. And so, yeah, this is a really great time for all of those things for Aquarius rising. And then for Pisces and for Pisces rising. So for Pisces rising, this new moon is happening in your 8th house. And so you're going through a period. First off, the past month, you've had the sun in the sign of Virgo, which is focusing on your relationships. So you've been probably focusing a lot of energy on other people's needs, other people's interests, cultivating a deeper connection in current relationships and forming new relationships with friends or business partnerships or people in your life that you're becoming closer to. It's been about contracts, negotiations, agreements, that type of energy. And now you're shifting into the 8th house. And so if you have established a new relationship, or if you have sort of reinvigorated an old relationship or come into some sort of connection or reconnection with somebody, now is a time where you can deepen your intimacy within that partnership. This is also a time where it's a great time to set intentions for anything involving joint finances. So through joint finances through marriage. This could also be a reset where, your partner, if you are in partnership, has some sort of new beginning for themselves when it comes to resources. And so maybe more money comes in, or there's something that changes for them, and you have to make adjustments accordingly. But this is a time, if you are in debt, if you have issues that you need to deal with involving taxes, inheritance, insurance, other people's money, now is a time to set intentions to get that all sorted out. This is also a great time over this next month to really go inward, to focus on anything that is stripping you of control. And by that, I mean anything internal. Well, external too. There could be power struggles, issues with in relationships or in connections with other people that come up for you. And so you need to utilize this energy to change those relationships, to have those difficult conversations, but to not do so in a way that's disruptive completely, or that's going to cause a lot of chaos in your life. You want to approach it in a way that's more balanced, where you're sort of compromising a little bit. You're not just going in there and like saying, screw you, I'm out of here. But you're also not bottling it all up. You're addressing it, right? That's part of that energy with the in conjunction. And the same thing too with debts, right? You might want to just throw it all out and file for bankruptcy, but maybe there's a middle ground there that you can come to a compromise with. And then also, going back to what I was saying before, this is a great time to address anything that's going on beneath the surface in terms of fears, anxieties, deep wounds, traumas, vulnerabilities, insecurities that have been buried, that might be coming up for you a little bit more so right now, and you might have to deal with it. This is also a really great time to set intentions to study new forms of like occult sciences, and to dive deep into something that's a little bit risky or taboo, that can give you a little bit of a sense of adventure or thrill there with that Uranus in conjunction as well. And so that is the energy for Pisces and for Pisces rising. And that is the forecast, you guys, for all 12 signs. If you, so just let me know if you have questions down in the comment section below. And I hope you all have a wonderful Libra season. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.